more interactive ability and tactileness. So, oh, no! No!
So I was just putting the finishing touches on today's show. It was a pretty heavy-duty speculative episode talking about the Vulcan and the possibility that because repair and refuel are coming in 3.6, and CIG had hinted at the possibility that at one point the Vulture might have been squeezed into the timeline to meet up with salvage. Does that mean that potentially the Vulture could make it in, or the Vulcan could make it into 3.6? And so I went back to look at the ship pipeline quickly and saw this. Yeah, the roadmap, whatever. Yeah. And so I had to rewrite the whole episode. Yay! So back to square one. But the good news is Vanguard Harbinger, Vanguard Sentinel, Cutlass Red, Cutlass Blue, the Carrack, and I'm not really sure what ship that is down at the bottom right. I think it's the Copperhead from Final Fantasy Spirits Within. I don't know. I'll check on that later. But that's pretty exciting that now we have these ships back on the roadmap. Now, the Vanguard Harbinger is a ship that, honestly, with the Harbinger and the Sentinel, I think that this is possibly where you're going to see a lot of value come into the Vanguard. These are always ships that I've kind of looked at and speculated that these are probably where you're going to see most of the Vanguard owners falling into because they bring a broader usefulness, I think, to the Vanguard than just the basic combat model. One being the bomber, the other being electronic warfare. Could we possibly see something to do with electronic warfare come out to meet with the ship when it arrives? Hopefully. But the Cutlass Red and the Cutlass Blue, now a lot of people know the story behind the Cutlass Red and the Cutlass Blue. Originally, we were already slated to have these ships, and then they got pushed aside for the Constellation Phoenix, which everyone was just so happy about because the Connie Phoenix, right? The hot tub. Finally, a hot tub in the Star Citizen universe. Clearly what we always wanted and we're so excited about. But, the Cutlass Red could point to some medical gameplay, could point to some interesting non-death states for players in the game in the future, something to go along with that. The possibility that when you go down on a ground mission with your friends and you get shot, that you may not just die and lose all your weapons, but you can be retrieved and, healed up, or at least temporarily healed up, and then brought back into action. The Cutlass Blue, the possibility of hunting down those evil criminals in the Star Citizen universe and bringing them back to face justice, of course. The Carrack, I think, is possibly one of the more interesting ships to show up in this portion of the lineup. I mean, obviously, I'm a Drake guy, but the Carrack represents in that kind of medium ground of the medium to large ships, that area in between. It represents a very important vessel, and I know that there's a lot of people out there who are dying to get their hands on it. And so I think it's going to be interesting to see what this ship brings to the game. Obviously, it's not something that's meant to go toe-to-toe with a hammerhead, but it's definitely going to create some nightmares for some Connie owners, and so hopefully it's going to show up in a really strong state and an enjoyable state for the people who bought it, and hopefully there'll be a few game mechanics to go along with it, so it's not just another dead ship like the Reclaimer. And then, of course, the Copperhead. Now, of course, the Copperhead is the stealth dropship. So it's something that in the Star Citizen universe, I'd say that there's already kind of a need for. There are certain things, not just Jump Town, but there are missions that involve you and perhaps a group of your friends if there's a formal mission and reward sharing system implemented. can go ahead and assault these locations together, and being able to get in there stealthily and drop infantry is obviously something that a lot of players would be interested in, even in the current game. So it would be really great to have something like this in the current game. So hopefully at the end of this year, if the production pipeline or the roadmap stays true, at least in terms of ships, then we could see this added to the available ship list within Star Citizen. And I don't think it would be an unworthy addition to that lineup. And I know that there's a lot of people who are very excited to, go out there and take the Copperhead out and fly it and prowl around the skies and, look for different installations to assault very stealthily. I mean, a prowl, that's a good word. They should actually name it something like that, like the Prowler. That'd be a good name for the Copperhead. So right now, the latter half of 2019 looks pretty good. There's a lot of highly anticipated ships that are hopefully going to be delivered by the end of the year. And I think there's a lot of them that could really enrich the existing Star Citizen gameplay experience a lot, especially if they come along with the mechanics that they're intended to use. That would be really great. Also, I think the Hull C is in there, but yeah. We've heard that one before. Yeah. So who knows? Maybe the Caterpillar will cease to be the king of the road in terms of haulers. I guess just have to wait and see. Anyways, that's the show for today. Now that CIG ruined the original one, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching. So if you want to keep up with the latest and greatest in Star Citizen and Squadron 42's development, please follow us on our social media channels. See you soon.